quality on that.
I checked it, focus.
All right, cool. Go for it.
I hate looking at myself.
Says go,
I know,
It's
it distracts me.
I'd rather just look at you. Yeah, it's distracting. Ready?
Action.
Hi, welcome to the Alyssa Goodman Show. Every week I get to interview a game changer in the wellness arena. Today I have Dr. Will Cole, and he actually is an idol of mine. I met him just about a year ago. I sat next to him at a dinner party and absolutely fell in love and really didn't know everything about him. But the day after, I investigated thoroughly, and ever since I have just followed your website, followed everything on Instagram. I mean, he's a functional MD, and that's what I absolutely love, and I love to send all my clients to. So, and he has a new book coming out called The Ketotarian, and it is really fascinating because it's a whole new take on the keto diet.
Yeah.
It's so welcome.
Thank you for having me.
It's so good to have you.
Yeah.
He from Pittsburgh, all the way from Pittsburgh,
Yeah.
so that's why I feel honored that I get you here. And when does the book actually launch?
It comes out August 28th.
Oh, wow.
Which is tomorrow.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's tomorrow.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because you had said something about promoting it more in September.
Yeah. Yeah, it
right.
is coming out tomorrow. We're going to be talking about it for a while, but yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So the full functional, and you got into it 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Really, what got you started into the functional part of medicine?
So functional medicine and being a functional medicine practitioner, it is the best of both worlds. And it's marries the best of alternative health, which is actually getting somebody healthy.
Yeah.
And the best of conventional medicine, which is being evidence-based and running labs and getting an objective perspective. So the sort of the best both worlds is what attracted me to it. So my journey into wellness kind of began in the 80s and 90s growing up in rural Pennsylvania. When it was not Instagram sexy to drink tonics and elixirs, but I was that kid doing that because my parents were interested in wellness, and they kind of revered that.
Oh.
So that was my worldview in that way growing up. And so I knew I wanted to get into healthcare. I went to an integrative school here in Los Angeles, Southern California University of Health Sciences, and I heard of a guy called Datis Kharrazian. And Datis Kharrazian is still today one of the kind of forefathers of functional medicine. He speaks for IFM, and he was a hero of mine. And that's how I heard about functional medicine all those years ago. And I've never really looked back since. And now most of my patients, like we were talking about, are seen via webcam. And I don't know how I got here.
Right, I was going to say.
To patients in remote parts of the United States,
Probably.
of the world, absolutely. Across Europe and Asia as well, because we're able to get people care wherever they're at.
I think that's the fascinating part.
Yeah.
Is because the people aren't really, in a lot of parts of the world, aren't really clued into this functional medicine and how to really get to the root cause of health issues. They're chronically sick, and they go to doctor after doctor, and the doctor is saying, you're fine, or your labs show you're fine, right? All of these things that are so confusing for people.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very discouraging to see for the patient, and you hear these stories over and over again, and you realize, wait, it's just not an isolated thing. This is pervasive across the United States, across Western civilization, of people struggling with health problems, unexplained symptoms, these autoimmune inflammation spectrum issues, and their doctor says you're just depressed, take an antidepressant, you are just scared, and they settle for it.
Right.
Or you just need to lose weight. Many women are told that. And it doesn't explain the full breadth of why they're struggling with these issues. So I'm happy to be a small part of figuring out clinically what's going on here so we can deal with it and regain their health as much as we can. And start moving the trajectory for them in a better direction.
In the right direction,
Yeah.
so they can thrive instead of just survive, right, in that way. But what is the first thing you do when someone comes to you?
Well, it starts with a comprehensive health history and asking a lot of detailed questions. And that's functional medicine practitioners are like clinical Sherlock Holmes.
Right.
And
therapists.
Yeah, therapists as well. Can be obscure to the patient. They're like, why the heck is he asking
Yeah.
me if the outer third of my eyebrows are thinning, or if I like crave salt?
Or was I breastfed or not,
Yes,
right? Or
how were you born?
Yeah, how
I
were you
mean,
born?
As for vaginal versus C-section, all of these things make up the story as to why we're at where we're at today.
Yeah.
And I had one older gentleman say, he leaned over to me and said, "Are you in the KGB?" Because I asked all these obscure questions, but I'm not in the KGB. I just want to dig deeper from a clinical standpoint. What's missing? Because the last thing I want to do is add to the pile of labs or add to the pile of doctors that they've seen have failed them.
And meds, right, too.
Yeah.
Maybe they're on a bunch of meds that aren't kicking.
Absolutely. I take that responsibility very seriously, and I don't want to waste anybody's time. I don't want to add to their pile of failures in their
Yeah.
wellness journey.
Right. So you take a detailed history, then you go into blood work. That is, this is so important these days, Will, because people come with their labs to me, and it is like nothing. It's like for the thyroid, it's TSH and T3, T4, none of the other the more important numbers, and also just iron and not ferritin, or like all these crazy things. There's not enough information on these labs that doctors take.
They're running, typically they're running the labs they need to give the appropriate medication. They're training, if you look at the training from the conventional medical schools, it's to diagnose the disease and match it with the medication.
Right.
Beyond that, what other options do these people with chronic health issues have in the standard model of care? That's it.
Right.
It's medications or surgery if it's indicated. So yes, we aren't so concerned with, okay, let's do this medicinal matching game and see if they if they would give them a blood pressure or a statin or a thyroid medication or an antidepressant. What's the root cause, which isn't a medication deficiency?
Yeah.
And that's what we're concerned with in functional medicine.
Right. That is, I mean, what are you seeing like a lot of? I mean, I was going to say, answer the question, but autoimmune, or is there other things as well?
That's my top patient base,
Okay.
people with autoimmunity, but the sad part is that can impact just about every system of your body. I mean, there's over 140 different autoimmune conditions. So that
Wow.
is a one term, but it's far-reaching as far as its impact on the body. So it can impact the brain, the thyroid, your joints, your digestion, every system in the body.
Right.
So while it's autoimmune commonality, the far-reaching implications of that looks different for different people.
Right. And I heard you on a podcast that was pretty amazing, that you said something about, like, once you get diagnosed with that autoimmune, you've had that autoimmune condition for years.
Yeah, 10 years on average prior to the diagnosis.
Wow.
Is when these things begin.
That is, so they've been living like that. Slowly they haven't really been taking care of it, so slowly they
Yeah.
have been kind of going downhill probably a bit, right?
And there's some people that will never be diagnosable, meaning that they'll never reach that point of degeneration where their immune systems attack certain parts of their body. They'll be in this stage 2 on the autoimmune inflammation spectrum, this autoimmune reactivity.
Okay.
Where these are the people that are labeled chronic fatigue and fibromyalgia, and it looks autoimmune is what the doctors say.
Yeah.
But they are always never pigeonholed. They're not able to be put in a bucket of giving a diagnosis code.
Right. So you also were into like all kinds of other different modalities in terms of healing these people than most, doctors out there, right?
Yeah.
And supplements is one of them. What are some of the others?
Well, it's really everything. Another word for functional medicine is integrative medicine. So foods are primary, obviously.
okay.
Food is the foundation. And from there, we can look at all the other components. Because you don't want to just say it's just food. It's not just food.
Right.
It's the foundation. But look, when you're dealing with these inflammatory problems, I've seen the healthiest food under the sun flare people up. Where it's like on the surface, like, well, yeah, eat your salad. That sounds
Right.
great, right? But these people aren't even able to digest salads well. They're getting sick from salads. It's not the salad's fault. It's these wrecked gut. It's these food sensitivities, this overreaction to the foods. So anything's fair game in this realm of inflammatory problems as far as finding out what foods work for them and what foods don't. So you
Okay.
have to be open-minded and this is the way everybody should do their life, because I'll be proven wrong all day long seeing patients if I
Right.
hang my hat on one way of eating.
Right, true.
The umbrella is real food, but under the umbrella, it differs from person to person.
How do you find out if what foods don't work for you or not?
labs, health history, and then using real life as a lab.
Okay,
and
just testing.
tracking,
Yeah.
and they're sending in food logs, and we're talking to them, and that's the way we operate our functional medicine practices. We are talking to them multiple times a week for the first couple of months to get a handle on how this is impacting.
Yeah, what's really happening
In
in their
real time.
day-to-day, in real time.
Day-to-day
I
life.
know.
Because real life happens when you're not talking to a doctor.
Yeah.
It's like bad days or questions or like not even knowing what to do.
Yeah.
So to have clarity is huge for these people because they are feeling disillusioned. Because as we know, I mean, there's so much conflicting information online. I mean, Dr. Google is a fickle man.
Yes.
So we want to give them clarity for them.
God help us.
Because you can substantiate your worst fears
Yeah.
by Googling it.
By Googling it.
You can substantiate what you want in your agenda by Googling it.
Yeah.
So we are trying to be as objective as we can to give them direction.
Yeah. Wow. Let's talk about your book because it's pretty exciting. The people you have recommending it, like
Yeah.
I know some of them, they're just like really top leaders in this whole health and wellness world. I love what you're doing here, merging the keto with the plant-based.
Yeah. It's what ketotarian is. It's the best, just like functional medicine is the best of both worlds between conventional and alternative.
Yeah.
Ketotarian is the best of being plant-based in the ketogenic diet. So it was really birthed out of my clinical experience seeing patients and my own wellness journey and seeing what works and what doesn't. And even within the umbrella of being plant-based keto, there's so much personalization. So I had to, when I wrote the book, bring that functional medicine bio-individuality to the book because I know within the umbrella of being plant-based keto, we can personalize it. So
Right.
I did as much as I could in a book form without me being there.
Right.
For every person.
But what's great is all those clients that you had, you know, firsthand information from that what was going on with them and their certain health issues worked this diet modality, right?
100%. 100%. It was.
I mean, finally, someone with a right keto
Yeah.
actual program.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's funny that when I wrote Ketotarian and I talked to our mutual friends and
Yeah.
colleagues in this space, I could see the look in their eyes, like, what the heck? Because they either didn't like keto,
Yeah.
and they're like, I can't get behind this,
Yes.
or they didn't like being plant-based because they were hardcore keto,
Right.
and they couldn't get behind it. So I was kind of ruffling the feathers in both worlds.
Right.
But when they read it, they all got behind it.
Uh-huh.
So I'm super thankful for that I can have some amazing thought leaders in wellness, kind of the top medical doctors in the country in this space of functional medicine get behind Ketotarian. I'm super blessed.
Wow. I mean, it's going to be amazing. But can you just talk a little bit about what ketotarian means, like just the
Yeah.
basics for people?
Yeah. So
Goes-
Ketotarian is my made-up word. That it's the alchemy between the best of being plant-based and being keto. So there's 3 different tracks. There's vegan keto, vegetarian keto. We bring in eggs and
Yeah.
grass-fed ghee, and pescatarian keto, or what I call in the book vegetarian. So it's wild-caught fish and shellfish.
love that too. That's a word you made up too?
Oh yeah, all made up words. Yeah. But it's using these awesome nutrient-dense food medicines to shift your body into ketosis. So ketosis is, for lack of better words, fat burning. So it's us burning our own fat as well as dietary fat. So it is it's about metabolic flexibility. So your body naturally produces ketones, which is so much exciting science around ketones and what it can do for our health. It can pass through the blood-brain barrier and provide our brain clean energy, so it helps with chronic fatigue and brain fog issues. But the top clinical application that I love about ketosis is the anti-inflammatory benefits. So beta-hydroxybutyrate's that main ketone. It drives down inflammatory cytokines. So all these people with these autoimmune inflammation issues, it attenuates and calms that inflammation. So it's hugely beneficial.
Right.
That's the awesome science around ketosis. And awesome, obviously we know the benefits of being plant-based.
Right.
So I didn't want to pick one or the other. I want to say we can have both.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people out there that want to try this keto thing, but they're like, I don't want to have meat and dairy all day long.
Right.
And the short-term
Which
benefits,
we know is inflammatory. Have it all day long.
And the problem is and the kind of misnomer is that many people go keto and they see the initial
Yeah.
benefits because they're going off of grains and sugar.
They feel better and they,
And they
lose
feel better,
weight.
and they lose weight. They're lower carb.
Yeah.
So
Little
this
more
sort of
brain.
honeymoon period of the conventional ketogenic diet, the problem that I'm seeing and I'm hearing from people is the long-term impact of that. So let's make this sustainable. Wellness should be sustainable.
Yeah.
And that's why I think ketotarian will suit the keto world very well, because they want to keep the benefits going, but they're stuck at this plateau because there's only so long you can just live on meat and dairy
Right.
and become overly fearful of vegetables because they're afraid of their carb content.
Yeah.
So I really kind of show the science on this and why they shouldn't fear plant foods, and they really could embrace this way of eating.
And with the vegan one, what are the protein sources?
The protein sources are, I allow for fermented soy
Okay.
products if it's organic and non-GMO, so
Okay.
tempeh,
Love that.
natto, yeah, so there's that. And then
Edamame.
yeah,
Yeah.
nuts and seeds,
Yeah.
obviously.
Okay.
Um,
What about beans, legumes? Some.
I allow pod-like legumes.
Okay.
And then after 8 weeks of trying this plant-based keto thing out, they can bring in more legumes if they want
Okay.
to. But the first 8 weeks, we're shifting the body into ketosis. Pod-like legumes, fermented soy is allowed.
Okay.
Nuts and seeds are allowed, and like things like sacha inchi. I don't know if you know. This is like a Incan
Yeah.
nut.
Yeah. Yes.
The high protein, and vegetables have varying amounts of.
Right.
And spirulina. So there's
Right.
a lot of plant-based protein sources. I know that's
Okay.
a question that people have, is like, how am I going to get my protein?
Right.
Yeah, so we are making sure that everybody gets their amino acids, their essential amino acids.
Okay. And vegetarian is, like you said, eggs and cheese. So some dairy, some high
Not cheese.
ghee.
Not
Not-
cheese, yeah. It's dairy-free other
Yeah,
than ghee,
okay.
but ghee removes the casein. So there's no inflammatory problems with that. It's just the dairy fats from grass-fed cows for people that want that. Again,
Right.
it's not a mandate,
Yeah.
but people can have it if they want it.
Right. And then the pescatarian, is it like with the fish, is it once a day or is it, is it limited at all?
No, we're
Okay.
picking the best fish sources out there. So if somebody, and this is why what I wanted to convey in Ketotarian is this sort of idea of grace-based way of eating. They don't have to feel overly dogmatic or stressed, because honestly, I think orthorexia and becoming obsessive about food is a problem in our space. So I'm trying to also infuse this conversation when we're talking about macros and ketosis and being mindful of your food. Okay, wait, let's back up a little bit. And this is about food. This
Yeah.
is about feeling good. Stressing about your food isn't good for your health. So it's like the reason why I say this is a topic about fish. We're picking the best fish out there as far as the environmental working groups, research, and other research being done looking at the cleanest fish out there.
Right.
And if people want to enjoy fish, they can have the fish, but still being plant-centric.
Right.
Their foundation is still plant. They can bring in these fish if they want it.
Right.
And I make the argument in the book of the bioavailability of the omega fats from fish being really good for inflammation. So,
Totally.
yeah.
I mean, fish is, where it's at. You don't get that same omegas from vegetarian or vegan sources, right?
No.
I mean, algae-based
Yeah,
Probably-
bioavailability is low, but algae-based
is
the
better.
better. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Wow. So is this the first book, by the
This is
way?
the first
It
book.
is? Wow.
Yeah, I have ebooks, but that doesn't
Okay.
count.
Right.
Yeah,
So
this is my first
book and
real book.
going on a book tour,
Yeah.
like coming this
Yeah,
week,
I
or
think
you're
this
here in
is-
LA
I think
for.
This is my book tour right now. Like everything I'm doing
Right.
right now, I'm in my mind considering
Yeah.
a book tour. I see patients during the week, so that's
Right.
primarily my job.
Yeah.
right? That's what I focus on. But yeah, this week is
I
book
think
stuff.
I asked you when I saw you in the summer, how many patients do you see a day? I mean, this is pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Like, you see a lot.
I've seen patients 10 hours a day. Yeah.
What does that do for your health and mental well-being?
Yeah.
And your kids at home?
Yeah, I have to practice what I teach. And I have to focus on self-care as much as I can throughout the workday.
Okay.
And that's what patients are like, oh, well, it's easy for you to say. I'm like, wait, no, we're the same. All my patients are working class people. We're all working. We all have busy lives. I do practice what I teach. It doesn't make it easy.
Yeah.
It just means we have to stay on our game with what works and what doesn't. And you know, I love what I do, and that's a bigger part of it too.
Right,
Is that
right.
when you love what you do, it makes it a lot easier.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Like so much easier. But will you ever cut back from that schedule? Probably not. It doesn't sound like you're even interested in that.
Yeah, I don't know.
You just want to help people.
Yeah,
Really?
I have stuff to do.
Yeah.
I have stuff to
I
do
know,
for a while.
You do. Yeah.
Yeah, so
You really are a game changer. I mean, I've met so many people in the health and wellness space, and I'm so much older than you. and I just feel like the energy you have in your just with what you do, and just the knowledge base, and just the compassion is so incredible. Like all of those things together, it makes you just a fabulous human being and a really amazing doctor. So
Thank you so much.
I would say to anybody who's listening that you are somebody absolutely to look at, to maybe get checked out wherever you are in the world, because I think you could come up with the answer for someone to feel fantastic.
it's my
So,
goal, at least. It's
Yeah.
my goal. And I think a lot of times people are looking for answers, and they should find a good functional medicine doctor to give them those.
Who cares?
Yeah.
Who cares?
Who
Really
cares?
cares.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you for being
Thanks
on my
so much
show.
for having me. Yeah.
Woo! It's hard. I could ask you so many